Hello racing fans, Numbers Guy here as we continue our review of 2011 Breeders' Cup races. Uh, this time we're going to cover the mile and 3/8 filly and mare race on the turf, mile and 3/8. And again, we're showing you the numbers format and the horses in the actual order that they finished. So, Perfect Cheryl wins the race, runs 11.6. Now Rain runs second, runs 11.7. Misty for Me runs third, runs 11.7. Notice that they actually ran a slower number than the next two horses, and that's mainly due to that they carried less weight, being 3-year-olds. One thing, again, that jumps out at me on these races, these distance races on the turf, notice that from top to finish, we've got a 2.3 number spread. That is absolutely incredible. We have 12 horses in this race, and they finished within 6 lengths of each other. These races are often very, very competitive, and the winner usually has to have some good fortune. And oftentimes the best horse, or at least the horse that looks like it's the best, doesn't come out on top. In this race, this is a very good race because the numbers pointed out probably the longest shot of the Breeders' Cup. Perfect Cheryl comes in at 27-1 to win this race, and she was complete outsider, one of the longest shots on the board. But her pattern was very, very strong. Her previous race was very, very strong. Let's go through her most recent races. Down at the bottom of the screen here, you can see she ran a 14-2 in April. We'll move back up here. And then she ran a 14-5 in May. She was given a little bit of time off, ran a 7.7 in July, which was the fastest of anybody in this race. And it's very, very deceptive race because in this race, she actually got beat soundly, but was taken so wide that she lost a ton of ground, and that's the advantage of keeping track of the figs that the numbers bring you, is that we account for these lengths lost. So we show you how fast they actually ran. 7.7, very, very fast. Now, in addition to that, she's got the circle back pattern, which I keep telling you how incredibly powerful that is. Okay, so then she bounces in late July to the 10. They run her back on Polly, which is probably a bit of a throwout race, but again, she regresses a little bit more. Then back in September, she runs her Turn the Corner race, 10.6. This marks that 7.7 as her new target. In addition to that, she's given a bunch of time off, 6 weeks, which is, to me, is just a perfect amount of time. And she comes out and scores at 27-1, runs a monster race. Anyway, this was totally havable, totally seeable. You know, at least this horse should have been included on your tickets. Okay, the next two horses are the two that I thought would run the best in here. They're both from Europe, Now Rain and Misty for Me, and they were monsters in Europe. Now Rain had won all 4 of her races and had won the Grade 1 Prix de l'Opéra in Paris in her last race. Misty for Me had won multiple Grade 1s, and one race back actually won by 6 lengths, which is unheard of in Europe. I consider them to both be very strong. They ran strong. They ran second and third. Misty for Me especially had quite a bit of trouble. Now Rain actually made the lead in the early part of the lane. But be that as it may, again, they completed the trifecta along with our 27-1 shot Perfect Cheryl. And in addition here, we've got again, I don't know that this horse is really a false favorite, but certainly a very lukewarm favorite. And you can see that there's a lot of horses in here that have run 9s and 10s and, you know, that sort of number. Well, the crowd sent Stacylita off as the 9-5 favorite. In other words, they thought she was clearly the best horse in the race, and her numbers just don't show that. If we look over to the right side of the screen, you can see Stacylita ran 11.1, which is a nice race. improved to a 10.2. I always like that improving racing, the numbers going in that direction. Then she actually regressed a little bit off to 12.4. Again, I don't take a lot of stock in that regression because she won and won a grade 1 with that 12.4. So to me, she probably had more in the tank. But again, those numbers do not dominate this field. They just fit in. They make her competitive. For her to go off at 9-5, she was a very, very poor value play. Anyway, that's our coverage on this race, and we'll cover the final race on Friday in our next telecast. Thank you for watching, and good luck.